You have seen the situation in our rivers, and you know that now this thing that we're calling global warming is no joke. You know, we've been thinking that these things are academic and everything. It is now real. You have seen for yourselves, and I know you will show our viewers and our listeners, you will explain to them that we have a huge crisis. Our rivers are drying up. We have dams in this constituency of Gatundu South, but now you see cracked floors and they're all completely dried up. We are waiting. Where we used to get 6,000 cubic meters a day, we are not even getting 500 cubic meters a day. We are now close to just sitting and waiting for those dams to dry up. My appeal is that we actually must rethink our strategy where our environment is concerned, and we must really do tree planting. We must take it seriously, and this goes to everybody, even those people who are in urban centers. We must start protecting our environment and thinking about it and making deliberate efforts to protect our environment and to conserve our environment. Because now, from the images that you've seen today, if this cycle is to proceed, if we're to have this for another maybe 5-10 years, then our rivers are going to dry up and dry up completely. And you know, this is how a whole race can be taken to extinction. We have done a hydrology survey and we realized that we do not even have sufficient water, for example, in our constituency, that we would dig. But even if we did boreholes, you know, it would be so expensive to get that water to the people, as opposed to having what we normally do as gravity water, or dams that give us water naturally. It is a lot easier to get water from dams as opposed to drilling boreholes and wells.
As you can see, this is where we normally source our water. This is the dam, and the dam has substantially reduced because of the current drought. This is the source for our water in places like Kiamoria, Kegumo, Kefishoi, Nembu, Mohoho, and some parts of Keganjo. Currently, we are rationing this water because of the current drought, and we are asking our people to really bear with us because the water levels are that bad, and we would wish to scale it until we get up to March, when we expect the long rains. We have high hopes, as you remember that we had a prayer meeting the day before yesterday. We have high hopes that the rains will come, and the way we are rationing our water, we anticipate that we are giving it in bits such that it will take us to the next season. The long-term measures that we anticipate and what we are actually advocating is a lot of tree planting, storage in terms of rainwater harvesting, storage in terms of small dams that like what was proposed, and it has been directed by our president, that we do small dams along our river valleys, so that we are able to conserve whatever we get in plenty during the rains. We are able to use it sparingly when it's a time like this one, when we have droughts.
Watu wetu wamekuwa kicomplain kuhusu janga la maji. Hawajakuwa kipata maji kama walivyokuwa wanapata hapo mbeleni, na ndio maana amesema atulete kwenye maji yetu inatoka. Na kama unavyoona katika hii dam kuna shida ya maji yamepunguka kabisa kwa sababu hatujakuwa tukipata mvua kama tulivyokuwa tunatarajia, na ndio maana unapata rationing imekuwa ya maji. So tunaomba watu wetu, kwa sababu maji yamepunguka katika dam zetu ama sources zetu za maji, tafadhali tuendelee kuomba Mungu atusaidie kuwe na mvua, ili maji tulivyokuwa tunapewa mbeleni turudie hiyo taratibu, na ili watu wetu wapate maji ya kujisaidia katika mbomba zetu.
As I said, the most important thing is to make sure that the infrastructure is sound. But also we are telling our people to make sure that they invest the little they have in water tanks, and to make sure that they embrace government solutions, especially county government solutions, when it comes to communal water points, which we are trying to talk to the government, so that if someone can't afford a water tank, for instance, they know they can go to a local center where there's a communal collecting water point and get served. So we need to make sure that the infrastructure, both personal infrastructure, individual and community infrastructure is sound, as well as other low-lying fruits that we can do when it comes to infrastructure like boreholes. We're talking with the county government to make sure that communal boreholes are prioritized at the moment, although we still have the same problem of water levels, whether it's the rivers or the boreholes, we still have that problem. But the most important thing is to make sure that the water infrastructure is sound as we wait for the rains to come. The rains, we have the longest period between around June to September, where we have the longest period where it doesn't rain. That period, historically, we've had very little rain, and this is a repetition of what has happened last year. But this season, which is coming, the long rain season, we're hoping that we'll be able to recover and recoup a lot of the losses we've had over the last year or so. The tree planting idea is actually a national policy. Everybody should be ready to plant trees. The national government and the county government are making sure that we distribute as many trees as possible to government land and to also personal properties. But I'm urging people to make sure that they plant the right trees and in the right areas, because we don't want to plant trees that suck up water flows within rivers. That creates another problem. And I'd like also to ask other government agencies to make sure that they collaborate with county institutions to make sure that we are talking the same language when it comes to priorities of water, because we have other institutions that also are fighting for the same resources, like National Irrigation Authority. They want to use the same water. So for us, we are saying, let people drink water first for personal human consumption, then we can talk about agriculture. There's need to have intergovernmental sit down and agreement on how we prioritize the little resources that we have.
Deha ke sigana. Okay, do ba bekete. Kana bekete re. No muere.
Iya, ini cara dia mai.
mwana mucio ũngĩ.
Rozi anda manyumba inyambia gũcokera kurana.
Rĩu we nĩ ũragire bara.
Rĩu tũrige gũtũngambĩrĩria. Nona ũrĩa
Rekei bara cikare.
Nona ũrĩa
Rĩu nĩ tĩri. Rĩu atĩ mwete mara nĩ goka. Ĩkũngiura thaa ici.
Rĩu njũrĩrie kĩũria.
Ate kwa gũtige hutio na ndarĩ kinya theta nĩ ndarĩ kinya thirĩ kana
Vamos a